Well, I think rather than just waiting, let's, you can see my screen. Brett, I think if you can, and just as much for my knowledge too, just so I can see how you explain it, if you could just, I'll kind of go through and we'll just do a kind of a basic ping post explanation in terms of the back end. Some things you'll already know. So, for example, these lead types here are your normal posting. But if you wanted to start, because right now you're doing all of your own leads, right, Murad? You don't have any. You're not buying any leads from anybody.
I'm planning to start buying.
Right. So when you do start bringing on lead sellers, you would be bringing them on as vendors and then creating a source for them, just like you did with the call center ones, I think. And then if you look here, there is ping post lead. So these are going to be the API specs for a specific lead type. We're going to use auto finance for this example. They're very similar to the ones that are found in the lead types. The only difference is it defines what is required on the ping and what is required on the post, and then also goes through the XML post as well. So these, again, just the same way. The only difference is rather than providing them just the source and the posting URL, you would actually provide them with these instructions and then also their API key. So the API key is found in the vendor settings. So for example, we'll just use one that we have here. And then you'll see right at the top here is the vendor settings. So you can copy those and give those to them as well, which will allow them to ping into your lead distribution system. Now, when you're in the specific settings, there are several different options. So you see we set up a test one that is for dynamic pricing. So what this would be is allows your lead seller to ping you in, run through your ping tree, and return back a dynamic price. You can carve out a profit margin and then pass the balance back to the source. So if we look into the source settings and we scroll down, one thing to point out with regards to ping post is the timeouts. So the post timeout would be given to you by your lead seller as far as how long you have to process the lead. And then the ping timeout you'll see is set differently, and that is going to be how long your ping tree, your lead buyers have to respond. And this way it will allow you to run through and gather all of the responses before you get timed out by your lead seller.
Yeah, just want to step in and clarify just one thing about that. So what this is just the number of seconds that your system has to respond with something back to who's selling you the lead. So what that means right now, 20 seconds, if I'm a seller and I ping your system, if I don't get a response back in 20 seconds, it's the system's automatically going to return back just a generic unmatched. And what that does is that really keeps everyone happy, especially your sellers, because they are waiting back for a response. And if they're just sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting for, a very long period of time, that greatly decreases the chances of the lead selling to anyone else. So this way, you put the ping delivery timeout as kind of like your fail-safe. So if you don't return back, if you don't get any responses back from your buyers after 20 seconds, we just automatically end the lead and end the delivery and return back a response back to the seller.
All right. And then the next is allowing using return best price parameter in the API. So selecting this option from no to yes will actually return back your best bid based on your ping tree to the lead seller. And then we have profit margin, and as well as some maximums as well. So the maximum best price offer is going to limit the amount of money, because if there were a situation where the profit margin plus your bid would exceed some value arbitrary value that you want to set, you can cap that here. So maybe you would never want to offer more than $45 for a lead. Next, you have your profit margin. So this is how the system calculates its automatic bid based off of your ping tree. So that can be set as a percentage or a dollar value or a percentage. And so if it's an absolute value of $10, the system will automatically carve out that $10 based off of the bids that you collect from your ping tree and pass the balance along to this lead seller. Or, of course, you can do it on a percentage basis as well.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
In case if I'm willing to sell this lead for several buyers in my ping tree, is there any way I can set it up here?
So that would be on the buy side, and we'll cover that after we set up this sell side here.
Got it.
So, Brett, are there any other switches to cover?
No, this is clear. Just the only thing, your interfaces look way better than mine.
So that is something I neglected at the beginning here. This is a preview of our new UI. We are in beta test. So one of the nice things is once we get out of this beta testing period, finish up some final tweaks, we'll be able to start implementing the new UI into systems.
Got it.
So your patience will be rewarded.
Hopefully.
Brett, any other switches to cover?
Nope. Those are the main ones you want to cover there.
Okay. So again, that sets up the incoming lead so that you can check into your ping tree and collect your dynamic bids from your partners. So if we go into...
sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's okay.
Like a private training session today, so I will ask questions. I mean, if I have a seller, he ping me the price, and some guy, one of my buyers buys that lead, I will still capture this lead in my system, right, with full information. The lead is coming to my system, I'm capturing it completely with full data, and then going to my buyer.
Correct. Your lead distribution is separate. Now, in the ping post, you would only capture that lead information if there was a buyer and you were actually sold the lead. So if we look onto the buyer side, we have two different types of auto finance buyers set up, Martin Riggs and Roger Murtaugh. One is going to show you how you can set custom business rules for your buyers that may not have a ping post system of their own, so that they can give parameters to you around a specific lead type and different prices, and then also one that has dynamic pricing that will return in the ping to their CRM. So if we go into the static auto finance client and then we go to the lead filter sets, you'll see we have a static auto filter set already set up. If we click in there and take a look you're very familiar with these filter sets. The one thing is that the lead price is set here at $10 and it's identified as a static price. So in this case, we can see here there's an HTML delivery. If the lead matches these filter sets, it's just going to be delivered to this lead buyer. Now, if we take a look at the dynamic buyer, we see a similar filter set up, but with dynamic in the name. If we click in there, again, it's going to look very similar. One big difference here is the price is set for 1 penny. And that is because if they are supposed to be returning a dynamic price, you want to set that at a minimum, because if they don't return a price, odds are there's a problem with the delivery or they're not going to buy the lead. So in this case, would prevent that lead from being sold in some sort of error. The other big difference you'll see is that this delivery is set up to be a custom delivery. In this case, it's ping post test, but whatever your client's custom delivery is, that would be assigned here, and that's going to allow their system to reply back with a price. The rest of the filter sets are pretty much set up the exact same, because when a lead is pinged to this filter set, their CRM is going to respond with a price. So if we take a look in the Leads tab at an actual lead that went through, we can see here that the lead was submitted today. It was matched with Murtaugh, which is the dynamic pricing, for a price of $25. If we look into the lead logs, which is going to show all of the details for every lead that you receive, every ping that you send out, every response that you receive back. And if we go down here, we'll see that it's going to show the fake ping, if whether there was an error, as in the first attempt of delivery, as with the second attempt. And then we'll see on the third attempt that the lead was matched, and then the dynamic price of $25, which was returned in the response from this CRM. And so this lead log is very important for clients that utilize ping post, because again, it's going to go through every single ping and response that you receive, so that you can drill down to figure out exactly what happened on any given lead. Brett, is there anything else you wanted to cover on this section?
Just that when you click on this show lead log, it's going to show you the response, like I said, from every single buyer that the ping was attempted to. So if a buyer doesn't have a ping post delivery, that's once this fake ping post is done. That's what that log shows. And what that means is, instead of actually, kind of like you have that what delivery, the integrate one that's a ping post in your system.
Home improvement leads.
Yep. So yeah, it comes through, it pings them, you send them the partial information, they reply back with a response and a price offer. So that is what you see here, the very top of that log on the screen right now. So they replied back in the ping, yes, we accept that lead, the price offer of $25. The one below that where it says fake ping delivery, that means that buyer didn't have a ping post delivery, but they're still eligible to get this lead, and what that does is it grabs the price from their filter set, since it's not dynamically returned. So what happens is, as all these responses come in, then the system then sorts by whoever the highest bidder is. And that's when that margin is then taken out if you're buying from an affiliate. So that way when the post comes through, we're going to temp that post to the highest bidder.
All right. And then obviously reporting is important. So I'll just end by showing there are some specific ping post reports that you can run based on various date ranges in your specific lead type, so that you can get a good bird's eye view of what's going on in your lead system. And then I will also finish up with a reminder on timed reports that you can go in here, select any report that is in your system, and automate the process of delivering that via email or, excuse me, FTP to your site, so that, or to your email, or to your FTP to your host, so that you can have that report sitting in your inbox or wherever you want on some periodic basis. So that is going to conclude the first of a series of demos on the pingpost system. I thank everyone for joining us rather. The next one, pingpost pricing, is going to explore some of these pricing options that we've discussed briefly here in greater detail next month. So I look forward to seeing you there.